You know, right now, the world is actually in a state of, I would say, complete awe right now. And when I say awe, what I'm talking about is the fact that they're actually fascinated because of, first of all, there are certain things that are being done in this day and time that we haven't really seen being done, or at least, recently, I would say. And the fact that we're actually seeing it, it actually kind of brings us to, I guess, a newer level of thinking or a newer way of understanding something that is not really all that old. What I'm referring to is the issue, the situation where I guess the entire United States and maybe even the world for this particular matter is fascinated by the actions of a mother where she actually saw her son contributing to riots and everything like that in response to those Baltimore officers that were responsible for the death of that gentleman. I forgot his name, but you all pretty much know what I'm talking about by the thumbnail. For the most part, I really, again, as always, I don't like to do videos, on every single thing I see because, again, it kind of gets a bit boring because a lot of people are actually pretty much posting and saying the exact same thing and talking about it, in further detail and such. And see, my approach to the situation is that sometimes, most of the time, I would say, is that I would just sit back and just kind of review different videos and stuff just to kind of get an insight on how other people are thinking. Because you never know, again, a lot of people have a lot of things to say regarding this particular issue because it is a very controversial issue. But what I wanted to take away from it again is something that a lot of people are not really thinking about. And of course, as always, that's pretty much what I like to do with my videos is approach situations from an aspect, as if I can say that, that a lot of people are not really thinking about. And that's pretty much what makes me unique in my videos because, again, I don't like to go and just say the same thing that other folks are saying because, again, when you do that, you don't produce good work. To me, it's not about the amount of people that look at my work and view it. It's just the fact that I want somebody somewhere to take away and really understand what I'm talking about and pretty much what my contributions to the particular subject may be. Even if they don't agree with what I'm saying, at least, just have the chance or just give me the common courtesy to explain myself and you hear me out. Now, in the midst of everything that's going on, buildings are being set ablaze, communities are being destroyed. That's nothing new when it comes to black folks, because that's what we do whenever we are actually faced with a challenge where we're supposed to think that we do what is predictable, as I would say. And in our case, whenever something doesn't go our way, we want to throw a temper tantrum and destroy everything around us, not realizing that those same things that we're destroying, we're going to need to use those resources the very next day, to sustain ourselves. What idiots we can be sometimes. But what I want to focus on is the mother that actually saw her son, I guess, through media outlets or whatever, that was contributing to this. She felt that she had to come down there to save her son, if you will, from being a contributor to the violence that's already existing in the city of Baltimore in response to the death of that unfortunate individual. Now, originally, again, I was going to let this slide, but I was actually going through, my Facebook thread as always, because again, this is something heated. So you already know that there's going to be a lot of things that's going to be said about this, because again, who would expect for a mother or someone to come down there to publicly discipline, if you will, their child where everyone in the open can see for participating in this particular type of situation? But I actually have like a couple of people, that I actually correspond with on the regular on Facebook. And for the most part, they were actually commenting on this particular thread that came on the news feed on Facebook. And they were actually applauding, the mother and her actions for what she's doing. In a sense, she's saving her son, as they say, from actually, I guess, behaving in an outlandish way. And of course, what a lot of people may not understand is that because of those actions that she did, that pretty much have been widely televised, the Department of Children and Families in that particular area is going to actually investigate her and see if her actions were well justified. But the issue that I want to actually talk about is that why is it that, the woman is actually getting all of the praise and admirations and everything for saving her son. And the fact about it is that you don't even see nowhere in there where it mentions about the father. Or if it did, then of course I never heard of it. But like I say, I'm only going by what I can actually understand at this particular point in time. Maybe the issue about a father, if he has one in the household, may come up later on. But as of this day, particular day and time of this video, I haven't heard anything regarding the father actually making any attempt at all, if he has a father or a male figure in his life, where those influences may be as far as reaching out to this particular individual who wants to blend in with the other folks and create damage in their own communities. The issue is with me is that, children these days, again, they are actually more prone to doing things to fit in. And a lot of it has to do with self-esteem. And I get that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people do too. But what bothers me is the fact that this lady is being placed on the pedestal as if she's some sort of hero. It's like she is doing something that no other person would be bold enough to do, and she is actually sending out a message to other mothers or what have you, or those who actually are in some sort of an authority over children, to come in and step in and stop this destructive behavior of these young folks, And nowhere in there did they mention anything about a father. And that bothered me. As much as we actually know and unfortunately see in this day and time, as far as the black household is concerned, the male influence, again, is nowhere around, which is the reason why you actually have these particular hate behaviors. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case with every household where a mother is actually raising the children. There's exceptions to every rule. But generally speaking, you have, the single mothers that actually contribute to raising children that are prone to act this way, but yet still, when she's actually going out there to try to stop him from doing this, she gets praised. Why are the women getting praises for something that they created for the most part? You created the problem, and now you actually want to be praised for, I guess, stepping in and somehow wanting to diffuse the issue, but they're not taking into account. They're the ones that for the most part, they're the ones that created the issue with the way that the young males are behaving. Again, and not nowhere in there did it mention anything about a father figure actually coming down there to save his son. That's somebody's seed. We already understand that mothers and everything like that, where they are actually raising children in the home by themselves. But I want to focus on the father aspect. Where is the male influence? Why is there not a man reaching out to let this fella know that, hey, no, you don't do that. You don't represent manhood like that. You don't represent, yourself like that. See, the issue is that aside from the fact that America is fascinated at the fact that a woman came into an area of danger to save her son, America is in awe about that. And so now what it's doing now is just further pumping, the muscle, the aspect that a woman can actually save a man. And that bothers me it just bothers me to the nth degree. And a lot of people in the midst of them praising her and everything like that. And like I say, the situation in and of itself, yes, you stop somebody who's actually trying to destroy something that they're going to need. Yes, do that. But the issue is they're actually putting this woman now on a pedestal as if she is some sort of hero for what she has done. She has had interviews, I'm sure, and I'm pretty sure she's getting accolades and everything and by the dozens. And she may even be called sometime in the future to maybe come up there and speak on a panel, about saving our sons and all this other type of stuff, and I'm like, well, where is the man? I'm pretty sure that he plays an integral part in this particular issue, because again, without the man, you wouldn't have men and young women, if you know what I mean. We are living in a society now where the black man is pretty much ignored. They're being taught that they're being taught to younger generations that they should not and actually should be avoided. That what they actually can contribute to the household, it really does not mean much. And that's pretty much sometimes the reason why a lot of them choose not to even stick around. They just go out and just check out because they feel that their presence there is not needed based on what the mother has told those children from day one. And you have a lot and I know this personally because trust me, I know situations like this and it hits closer to home than a lot of people think, especially in the situation that people that I know, and it could be even with the inner workings of my family. Family members, are teaching their children that, men are bad and stuff because of what they've done to them or whatever. And I'm like, no, you don't teach a child to disrespect or to behave and ignore their father. You don't do that. You just don't. That's wrong. I don't care what the father may have done to you. You don't teach and plant that seed of hate in a child for their father. I don't care what's being done because when it all comes down to it, that's their father and they're going to need that influence. And all of this is contributing to, like I say, this particular attitude about this woman and how she is actually able to do this impossible thing, this impossible feat where she's diving into an area of danger to save her son. Like I say, nobody ever asked about, okay, where is the father? Nobody ever asked. Nobody even questioned that. And that's the part that bothers me. Nobody even took the time to question where was the father. They automatically jump to the fact the woman is coming in there, hitting her son upside the head, letting him know that, what's wrong with you, that type of stuff. On the surface, I can get with that. I understand it. I don't condone violence where parents are knowingly abusing children. I don't condone that. But with the particular situation that we're confronted with, okay, maybe I could, in a sense, understand what's going on. But just generally speaking on the surface, where is the male? Where is the father? Where is that male influence to let these young fellas know that, hey, there are better ways to deal with this particular issue? And that's pretty much what's going on. That's why our young men are falling by the wayside. That's why they're getting caught up in gangs. That's why they're wanting to, be a part of something where they feel that they can get that male influence because it's not in the home. So they have to go out there in the streets and find it somewhere. And it doesn't matter where it is, as long as they think they found it, that's what they're going to stick with. And the influences that come with that male influence that they think they found, it's not going to teach them anything that's going to be beneficial to them. The only thing it's going to do is going to destroy them. And we see that time and time again. But yet still, but we ignore all of that and we focus on this black woman, this black mother reaching into the depths of despair and issuing discipline. Nothing wrong with that, as I say. But my question is, where's the father? Where is the male influence? Where is he? The issue is, like I say, women are becoming, like I say, the sole provider. And they're there, and like I say, in some cases, unfortunately, they're left like that. But see, and again, but to caveat that, you see a lot of women now that not a lot of them, I would say a percentage of the black women that are now starting to see the error of their ways, where they're saying, you know what? Despite this feminism and girls rock, black women rocks, mothers rule, and all this other type of stuff, a lot of them are waking up and starting to see that, this is not the way that I want my son to be raised. Because the only way they will be able to deal with life is based on what I have taught them. And they really need the total and complete picture. And that's something that I cannot provide for them. And because of that, a lot of them go to their civic leaders, church leaders or what have you, mentors or whatever. And they actually try to get that influence into that child at a young age. So they will begin to see, okay, now we understand how mommy handles things. Let's look at a male and see how he deals with it. But I mean, there's still a long way to go with this particular issue. I mean, when I saw this particular, I'm like, wow, I couldn't believe it myself. Mother is like, I'm like, well, you know what? All of that is fine. But the issue is that while America is focusing on what the heroic efforts of what the mother is doing to try to save her son, the common question to ask is, okay, where is the father? He should be down there kicking the crap out of that son as well. He should be there. And as a matter of fact, he should tell the woman, what, step aside. I got this. But they're nowhere around. And that's the main thing that I was looking for. I'm like, okay, well, that's the mother. Okay, well, I know the father can't be too far around because I know he got something that he got to say and want to try to get something in there as well. But nowhere around. Nowhere around. And that's very sad and disheartening. See, I'm the type of person that I don't like to take things at face value. I like to look deeper and with a more clear perspective than what's being shown. Because again, what you're seeing with your eyes, that is not the total picture, people. That's why I always, when I do my videos, for the most part, I like to explore things and tackle it from a situation that a lot of people are not looking or not expecting for me to attack. Because again, you have a lot of people that are, again, making videos about this, but they're coming at it from the same angle, and it gets very boring. That's why I try to bring a touch or a breath of real life into these videos that I do. And I understand, I know I don't get a lot of views, and now I'm okay with that. I am fine with that. I really am. But I just want somebody somewhere, again, as I always say, to understand what I'm saying and the reason why I'm saying what I'm saying, in hopes that somebody will say, you know what? That is the truth. You know what? I didn't hear anybody actually attack it from that way. But you know what? It may be different, but you know what? He's on point. I'm not looking for any pat on the backs or anything, because that's not the reason why I do videos. I do videos when I actually have when I feel like I have something that I want to say that deserves to be heard. And that's pretty much the only reason why I do videos. And of course, other times when they're, passing time, bored, don't have anything else to do, you know what? Why not post a video about something that you've been thinking about? Just to get some perspective and to see what other folks are thinking and how they feel about the situation. But this pretty much here, for the most part, has taken over social media by storm. Facebook, YouTube, I mean, like I say, and those type of videos, like I say, I didn't plan on doing a video about it, but it's just these comments that I actually saw on the news thread here on Facebook with a lot of people. And for the most part, you have nothing but women that are commenting. And you do have, I guess, a couple of men, I guess, every here and there. But for the most part, you have these women that are praising it. But a lot of them are not actually asking the question, where is his father? Where is his father? His father needs to be there to issue that discipline, to show him, to let him know that as a man, when something doesn't go your way, you don't go and tear up everything. You don't go and act like apes and hooligans and wild animals. America expects that from us. That's what they expect from us. We have to show them, and there needs to be men that step up in the lives of these young ones to let them know we need to show something different. We got to be different if we are to expect to be taken seriously. But like I say, I can go on and on with this, and I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. Y'all continue to have a good day. Lots of stuff to do than to focus on this issue, but I feel that I had to get it out. All right, folks, have a good one. Peace out.